Welcome to 5 Minutes Design.
Hey there.
We are diving straight into the latest sources on design and AI today. And honestly, things are moving incredibly fast.
Almost too fast to keep up sometimes.
Right. Like, how wild is it? Well, get this. There's been this huge tech acquisition, $6.5 billion affecting this space.
Huge.
And on top of that, we're seeing tools pop up where AI can apparently generate like entire working apps just from you talking to it.
Yeah. Voice commands to working code. It's something else.
It really feels like the fundamental way we think about design, about technology is just being completely rewritten right now.
It absolutely is. The ground is definitely shifting. Lots of new possibilities, sure, but also some pretty big questions for anyone creating things.
Exactly. And speaking of that massive acquisition, let's get to our quiz question for this deep dive. How much did OpenAI reportedly pay for Jony Ive's AI device startup, I.O.?
Good question. Keep that number in mind.
Yeah, hold on to that while we explore what our stack of articles and research notes turned up. Our goal today, pretty simple. Cut through all the noise, pull out the key insights for you. We're talking big tech news, some really practical new tools designers can actually use, like today.
And how the whole idea of the design process itself is kind of evolving. Consider this your shortcut, right? Get the key info without drowning in it.
Okay, let's unpack this. The absolute biggest news, the thing making the most waves in the sources, is that OpenAI deal. $6.5 billion for Jony Ive's startup, I.O.
And Jony Ive, I mean, if you don't follow hardware closely, he's basically a legend, right?
Yeah.
The design mind behind so many of those iconic Apple products.
Totally. But what's kind of fascinating, as one source pointed out, is how they announced this giant deal.
Oh, yeah, that video.
Right, this highly stylized 9-minute video. Someone described it, maybe a bit jokingly, as a tech industry romantic comedy.
Yeah. But the critics were less amused. A lot of them called it a vanity piece because, well, it looked slick, but it revealed almost nothing real about the actual device or their vision or anything concrete, really.
$6.5 billion for a rom-com trailer. That's quite a choice.
Definitely a choice.
Okay, so moving from the, let's say, abstract and incredibly expensive to tools you might actually use. Our sources highlighted some practical AI stuff emerging.
Absolutely. Yeah, one that stood out was Runway's Gen 4 Image API.
Right, API. Basically a way for different software bits to talk to each other.
Exactly. And this one lets developers build Runway's image generation right into their own apps. It's multimodal, meaning it understands text and other kinds of input.
And the detail that jumped out was the cost reportedly just 0.08 cents per image generated.
Yeah, pretty accessible. And the potential uses are, well, huge for creative workflows. The sources mentioned things like, virtual try-on for e-commerce.
Oh, cool.
Generating unique stuff for games or visualizing interior design options super fast.
That speed and capability, though, it also brings up some important things to consider.
Definitely. Google DeepMind's VO3 was another tool mentioned. It generates realistic videos.
Okay.
And, critically, with audio included.
And that's where it gets, well, maybe a bit concerning for the industry, right?
The power of tools like that, it immediately sets off alarm bells about AI-generated content. It just highlights this massive, growing need for media literacy.
Yeah. Like, how do we as creators, as platforms, even just as people consuming stuff, figure out what's real? How do we manage this increasingly sophisticated synthetic media? It's a huge challenge.
It really pushes the conversation beyond just making cool stuff to the responsibility of, handling it properly.
Yeah.
And if you connect that to how the design industry itself is changing.
Right. The sources painted a picture there, too. Fundamental shifts in the actual process.
Yeah, they touched on this idea that building components, like UI elements, in isolation, it leads in inconsistency, it's inefficient.
Makes sense.
Suggests a real need for maybe a more collaborative component marketplace or system. Why is every team rebuilding the same button? Right?
Exactly. And that seems to point towards this bigger shift in the designer's role.
Totally. The sources suggest future designers might spend less time, pushing pixels or even writing front-end code.
Yeah,
because these AI systems are getting better and better at generating that production-ready code themselves.
So what are designers left doing then, if AI does the code?
Well, the focus seems to be shifting upwards, shaping the overall system, focusing on the end-to-end user experience, and, maybe most importantly, collaboration.
Okay, so less execution, more strategy and orchestration. UX maturity came up too, didn't it?
It did. And not just as a buzzword, but as embedding user-centered thinking, deep into how a company actually works, its culture.
And that collaboration piece feels key. Successful designer-developer partnerships were highlighted.
Crucial. It's more than just a handoff. It needs, like a shared language design systems, help there doing prototyping together early on.
And actually valuing what each side brings, right? The different expertise.
Precisely.
We also saw quick mentions of other tools supporting these shifts. AI color match helps apply color schemes from images.
Yeah. Outputs JPEGs, presets, LUTs, and Macaulay, this AI agent that supposedly turns voice commands right into apps.
Wild. And then there's the human side. People like Rachel Gogol mentioned in the sources advocating for fair pay, valuing creative work based on its actual impact.
Right. And the unique spot designers are in with startups, tight budgets, big risks.
But also potentially huge creative freedom and the chance to make a real difference.
Exactly. Those trade-offs.
Wow. Okay, so from multi-billion-dollar AI hardware plays to daily tools, changing how we make things, and a whole rethink of the designer's job, the world of design and AI is, definitely in hyperdrive.
Moving incredibly fast, no question.
Right. Quick reminder then on our quiz question, how much did OpenAI reportedly pay for Jony Ive's AI device startup, Ayo?
Drum roll. And the answer, according to the sources we looked at, is a staggering $6.5 billion.
$6.5 billion. Okay, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. If you found this useful, please support the show. The free way is just to rate, subscribe wherever you're listening.
Yeah, it really helps. And come join our growing Discord community. We'd love to chat more about this stuff there.
Definitely.
And maybe here's a final thought, drawing from the sources. If AI is increasingly handling the code, the components, the technical execution, what does it really mean to design in the future?
Good question. How do we make sure that human creativity, that empathy, that insight, how does that stay right at the core of everything?
Something to think about.